Hello everyone, welcome to Living Positive San Antonio. Today is January 25th, 2021. And for you girls out there that don't know it, I'm going to give you all some quick COVID numbers. We've actually, the numbers have come down. We had like 2,000, 1,800. Today they were 821 new cases. But the deaths went up. There were 18 new deaths. So everybody, if you have a mask, wear it. Keep your hands, social distance, everything. So, I want to let y'all know that tonight we're talking about treatment as prevention, as you might bring white, to include PrEP and test. And also a disclaimer, there will be strong language used. We're all adults and we're going to be talking about certain items, certain things that require common everyday language. So be prepared for strong language period. Starting off will be Mark. Theo. And guys, it's all yours.
So today's main topic, we're going to be talking about treatment as prevention, and I'm sure many of you guys are wondering what that is. Treatment as prevention is basically treating someone for diseases that they may or may not have to prevent them from either spreading it or catching it.
Okay, how does that work? If you don't have a disease yet, how do you go about treating it if you don't have it?
Vaccine.
That is a really good question. Yeah, for COVID, there's the vaccine. So for those of you that are 65 and up or 16 and up and have health conditions, major health conditions,
Jace.
You are eligible to get the COVID vaccine for registration only, and we can link that in our group after the meeting. But in terms of HIV and STDs, of course, treatment as prevention would include going to educational seminars so you can learn how those STDs and HIV are passed on from person to person, as well as taking safety precautions such as using condoms, which I know you don't like to use.
No, I don't.
PrEP and PEP. And then for those of you that don't like using condoms, like you, Mark, if you are having anal sex with someone and you are giving or receiving, it's always good to use a lot of lube.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know why?
No, no.
So that it doesn't
Please
tear
enlighten
up
us.
the time to use.
So, yes, Wayne said it correctly, so that way it doesn't tear any of the tissue that inside the anal wall, because if there's blood, then, HIV and STDs can be easily passed in that.
Is there such a thing as antiviral lube?
No. What do you think antiviral lube is?
Well, it could be a lubricant that prevents or that kills virus.
I know that there is spermicide to kill sperm.
What about deep throat spit?
That is not a good form of lube. If you are going to have anal sex, it is recommended that you use silicone-based lube.
Yeah, if you use spit, it's not lube and you could easily tear up your part.
So not use the water-based ones?
Yeah, you mentioned, what are the kinds are there? You mentioned water-based, you mentioned silicone, or are there any other?
I've never heard of silicone-based.
There are other based lubes that I don't remember off the top of my head, but silicone-based is made to be much more slippery, and it's made to not dry out as quickly. Water-based lube
Does it reduce friction?
And-
Need for friction as well?
And if you use a condom, if you use water-based, it dries it quickly and it
So
I'm not correct.
when using
I'm not correct. Go on.
when using a condom, it's recommended to use water-based lube.
Yeah, not so
Because if you were to use silicone-based lube, the silicone in the lube would rub up against the silicone of the condom and it would create air pockets,
Okay.
which can eventually make the condom break or just not work as effectively as it could.
Is there a condom that you recommend, or all condoms are good?
I think all condoms are good. I mean, I've seen videos where, you know, they can stretch out condoms as big as they can, and, you know, people complaining that it doesn't fit or whatever. There are different condoms, different sizes. You just have to do your research. You know, just try on different condoms while you're hard. See which one fits for you. For women, there are female condoms that you can use. If I had a little demonstrator, we could demonstrate how you can use it. But
We actually should do that here pretty soon. Yes, Wayne?
I was just going to go back to, once we go back to the different types of lube, there's 4: water-based, silicone, oil, and hybrid, which is a combination of water and silicone.
Water and what?
and
Silicone.
Thank you for that, Wayne. So yeah, there's female condoms. So for those females that don't know about it, it's basically a really long, really big condom, and it has a ring attached to the end of it. It's kind of like rubbery, and in order to insert it, you pinch it, and then you insert it up into the cervix until it pops open, and you can actually leave it in your body for up to 12 hours, either before or after
Is it
sex.
condom?
Is
The
that the same,
female condoms.
You
is
can
that the same
program
as
it.
a diaphragm, or is it different?
Different.
Yeah.
Okay, I heard that little ring, if I'm correct, someone told me that you should not, guys should not use it as a condom. Is that correct? Because it's small to start off with. If it fits you, that small, you know.
I mean, guys could use it if they wanted to, and guys can actually use the female condom for anal sex as well.
Can you also use it to give, to rim a guy or a girl?
No, there's something else for that,
Okay.
which I'll get to.
Okay. I'm just really excited.
He's excited.
So if a guy is interested in using a female condom, it's highly suggested that you take the ring out, because if you were to use it with the ring, if the ring were to pop open inside your anus, then it could get stuck and it would be hard to pull out. So
Is that you're talking about?
Just
Anal sex.
Yes.
Okay.
now I've actually heard stories of this happening to a person where they used a female condom and they left the ring and they had intercourse, of course, unprotected, since, you know, they were using the female condom. The guy didn't wear a condom at all. And when he tried to pull out the female condom, it was stuck because it opened up as a circle and it pretty much went around the opening of his anus. So he couldn't pull it out. And he had to get it surgically removed. So please be advised, if you are going to use it, proceed with caution. Jace, can you start at your phone, please? So use it with caution. If you do like pain, then you can leave the ring in. I know some guys say that they like the pain, and so they leave the ring on there for that pain. It's really just up to you, your preference. I mean, I recommend, you know, trying different things, experimenting. It's never too late to experiment. And then going back to your question, there's a thing called entadems.
Okay.
Yeah.
And usually what it is just like a thin piece of, not fabric, but like a thin piece
Plastic, right?
of silicone.
Okay.
And you put it over someone's butthole or someone's vagina, and then you can usually flavor, so you can lick
I
and taste that.
try those flavored condoms and stuff like that. I think they're nasty as heck. I just don't like using condoms for the fact that it just, no matter if it's tight or loose itself, I just don't like the feel of it. It's not for me.
I mean, yeah, some guys, they say that whenever they put station and they can't get an erection. And, you know, if that happens to you, then maybe try warming lube. You know, there's lube out there that warms up and creates heat to allow blood flow to go back into your penis, so you can get erected again.
It just doesn't work. It just doesn't happen.
So that is one way that you can treat HIV and STDs as prevention. I know a couple of weeks ago, Santiago was talking about he was getting tested regularly, and that's how he was keep making sure that he was not contracting any HIV or STDs. And I mean, yes, that's a good thing to get tested regularly, especially if you are sexually active as Santiago. But that can be the only line of defense that you have in your arsenal. Because if you are just having unprotected sex willy-nilly with whoever's walking down the street, you're eventually going to contract something. But if you are wearing protection or using a big amount of lube, then that also adds more protection.
Just find one partner, and that's it.
Yeah.
A sexual partner. And
Just find one
yeah, just one.
partner?
Yes.
Okay.
No, not two partners.
No, not two. Pendeja.
Not even, I'm usually the one.
They're watching, damn it.
Well, I'm asking for like Santiago or Jace. You know how Jace is a big slut.
Oh, yeah. We won't say with what. We cannot say with who, but we say with what.
So another part of something that I wanted to talk about is PrEP.
Okay. Go on.
Okay. So PrEP is pre-exposure prophylaxis, and in layman terms, it's essentially considered birth control. So if someone was looking to find a way to help prevent them from not getting HIV, or no, help them prevent getting HIV, then PrEP is recommended. Of course, they would have to take it every day for the rest of their life, just like with birth control.
And get tested also.
Yes, but normally if you do get on PrEP, you regularly get tested every 3 to 6 months, depending on your doctor, as a formality.
That's
So-
for liver
Let me ask you a question. Is there only one medication or a couple of medications?
Very good question. So originally there was just Truvada, which, you know, there's a lot of lawsuits and stuff against it, but now they've come out with Descovy, which is another pill that you can use for PrEP. Like I said, you have to take it every single day at around the same time, pretty much for as long as you were sexually active, up until maybe you find a lifelong partner that you want to be with, or if you would want to take it further than that, by all means, it's totally up to your discretion. And as we mentioned, you do get tested regularly every 3 to 6 months because Truvada and Descovy do have effects on kidneys, and so they need to monitor that just to make sure that it's not affecting you in any harmful way.
And I think the reason for Descovy though is his side effects are less harmful.
Yes, yeah, Descovy is less harmful than Truvada, and that's actually much more recommended for those that already do have kidney issues. I know that if someone already had kidney issues, they wouldn't be able to get on PrEP because of how bad Truvada was towards kidneys. But
Is it expensive?
there are programs out there that can help pay for PrEP. I know that the city with Junda Wu has an amazing program that people can enroll in. They would just have to, you know, call mental health and let them know that they want to get on PrEP. The Kind Clinic helps with PrEP, I believe. ARC, Safe and Beat, really all the agencies help people get on PrEP. Pretty much free. You know, if you do have insurance, then they do take that into account. We'll go with Renee and then Wayne.
So, PrEP brings your viral load down to 0, is that right?
No, PrEP prevents you from ever catching HIV, if you are HIV negative.
But it only covers for HIV.
Yes.
Any other STD, it does not.
Yes, and that's a really big misconception that a lot of people have, is that if they're on PrEP, they won't get any HIV or any STDs, and that's not the case at all. It only prevents you from getting HIV. You can still get syphilis, herpes, gonorrhea, chlamydia. I know that Jace is very familiar with all of those. So.
Okay, so which is the medication that brings your viral load to 0 to where you're undetectable and untransmittable?
And you're talking about someone who's HIV positive, correct?
Right.
And that's
Antiviral.
and that's a plethora of medications. Descovy is one of them. Tirade is one of them. There's Centuza, Stribel.
And by the way, all of those are usually paired with another, like, when I first started taking it, Truvada was mated with, started with an S.
Stribel.
No, I'll think of it here in a minute. Anyway, they were joined to make the single pill of a triplet.
Well, what they do is you have to have, for the antiviral, you have to have 2 from an antiviral, and you have to have 1 from the
And any other question, Wade?
So my question was, I've already forgot. I forgot what it was I was going to ask you.
Okay, so
Just also remember, it's only 1 pill that needs to be taken versus back, 20, 30 years, where they had to take like almost 20 pills. They had to take, what was it called?
EZT?
Yeah. I mean, it was just called a cocktail, but in that cocktail, there were like 20, 30 pills they had to take a day.
17 3 times a day.
3 times a day versus, now we are lucky that we only have to take 1 pill. And if you can't take 1 pill a day.
Do you take 1 pill a day?
Yeah, that's all I take.
You?
Yeah, I take one.
One pill.
One pill.
One pill.
I take
What-
3.
What do y'all take?
And I can't even tell you. I'm my 3 pills right now.
Is it blue?
And is there a reason why you take
It's a
them?
brown one, it's a white one, and I think it's a...
Pretty pink one?
I believe so.
So your doctor is Dr. Martinez?
Yes.
Because he tends to kind of stick to that
But
for
you see,
some of the older people
yes,
that have been.
and I'm happy with that. And he's asked me quite a few times if I want to go down to 1 pill.
So you take,
I'm happy taking my medications right now.
so you take Viagra or something like that?
No, but
Pretty blue pill.
So I'm happy taking my 3 pills. I don't want to change it. I guess I'm so used to it. I think I'll freak out if I take 1 pill. I'm going to feel like I'm missing something. But it just, he asked me a couple times if I want to go down to 1, and I keep saying no. So if it's working right now, I'll change it.
You're just used to it.
So for those of you that are watching that are HIV negative and are interested in getting on PrEP, you can always get a hold of any one of us. Mark, Santiago, Wayne, Jace, Renee, Benjamin. You can always get a hold of any one of us and we can point you in the right direction. I know Wayne is a superb person when it comes to resources.
Oh, yeah.
So use them while he's here. And then, so another thing that we can use as treatment as prevention is something called PEP. And you know what that is?
No, I don't.
So say again, it's what?
Pep.
PEP.
And so PEP stands for post-exposure prophylaxis. And to those that
Say that again?
post-exposure prophylaxis.
After you've been exposed.
And yeah,
You
so
go and you get a little.
this is kind of like the morning after pill for those of you that know what the morning after pill is. The morning after pill normally is something that a lady takes after having sex with someone unprotected.
And you know
To
you got
prevent
it.
them from getting, to prevent them from getting pregnant.
Okay, then this pill prevents you from getting HIV?
Yes.
Correct.
So let's say
Yeah.
I haven't been on a
Okay,
medication.
let me ask you a question. Where do you get the pill? And
Morning after pill, you get it
Do
home.
you have the pill already, or do you need to go to the doctor the day after you have sex?
I'll explain it
I'm excited, I'm not.
All right, so
You know you can't take it anymore, right?
let's say
For people out there like Renee.
let's say that I am HIV positive. Okay, I am HIV positive. But let's say that I am not undetectable and I have unprotected sex with the guy that's walking down the street right now. Sure, I don't know. And
Again?
You mean like we did earlier today?
and let's say that I am giving anal sex to this person and I finish inside him. Well,
Twice in 2 days.
Sure, twice in 2 days.
Yeah.
And if I'm kind enough to tell him after the fact that I'm HIV positive detectable, then he can already have it in his mind that he needs to get on PEP. But what is serious about PEP is that you have 72 hours from when you have sex to get on PEP.
3 days.
Yo, let him talk.
Normally, the place where you can go, I know that the Kind Clinic is one great place that you can go to for PEP. When I used to work at Beat, we recommended people go to the emergency rooms. And sometimes the emergency rooms will give you a week's worth of medication. Sometimes they'll give you a couple of days' worth of medication, depending on where you go. But if someone is interested in getting on PrEP, I would probably recommend going either to the health department or to the Kind Clinic because they have actual programs that will help pay for it. So that way you don't have to pay out of your pocket.
Okay, when you take this medication, do you take one pill for only 1 day, or do you take several pills for a couple of weeks?
That is a very good question, and that was what I was going to get to next.
I mean,
Yeah, you read my mind. So, anyway, it's 2 pills that you take, and normally it's a combination of 2 HIV medications. So it could be Biktarvy and Descovy, or Sestiva and Strivil. It really just depends on where you go and what they prescribe you. And you take it for 30 days straight. I believe you get tested initially at the beginning, and then you get tested at the end to make sure that you didn't become positive throughout that entire process.
This is for PEP.
Yes.
So it depends on the rural area and the strain that's going on in that area. So like on the West Coast and like the Bay Area, it was Essentris and Truvada that was being distributed for PEP. Over here, there's a different strain. So they were giving a different form of PEP and issuing that out. So whatever you guys are giving out here is a different story.
Yeah.
all I've heard was one pill.
Like I said, it just depends on where you go. I know that I've had a couple of clients who tried to access PrEP and they only got a couple of days worth to hold them over for the weekend, and then they kind of just let them try to find their own way come Monday to get more. And
Is taking PEP also kind of like taking your regular HIV medication? If you miss one dose, you have to start over, or if you miss a dose, can you take back up a couple days after that?
But if you have 3 days to take it, and if they're going to give you medication for 2 days, then you have the 3rd day to find something, and if you don't find something on the 3rd day, you find the 4th day, like he was saying, is it going to work?
no.
No, it won't.
And you're screwed then.
You by that 3rd day, you
Is
have
it
to be in like
expensive?
the ER. You got to get some kind of medical care.
Yeah, I mean, it's just as expensive as taking regular HIV medication because you technically are taking HIV medication. I've had other people who bought it on their own with their own money, and they spent $2,000 to $5,000 for a month's worth of pills. And I mean, for those that are interested in getting on PEP, just try to act as quickly as possible. Call the health department or the Kind Clinic; they can definitely help you. We have Wayne.
I remember what I was going to say. So on the price of the PEP and PrEP, if you go to mental health, like you were saying, the program that they have that about 90% of people will qualify for is $77,000 income and under. can get the free prescription or treatment.
Thank you for that, I didn't know that.
So, also too, an update on that income thing. People are worried because, you know, like they may not have enough money or something like that. If they go in there and they say certain things,
Like what, sir?
if they volunteer too much information, well then yeah, they're gonna probably pay a lot. But if they just give just the bare minimum of information.
Basically, what you're saying is if they go in and lie.
No, about their, you know, if they're.
In other words, don't volunteer.
Hey, don't give your
Don't-
full
don't-
income
don't
status?
volunteer too much information about how much money they're making.
They're going to find that out regardless.
Yeah.
I mean, to have a direct connect to IRS, and they're going to see your employee taxes and things like that.
No, okay, for them to like, if they're worried about not being able to get their PEP, and they don't have insurance, there's ways.
No, yeah, there are ways, there are programs that people can enroll in.
Well, I recently met someone who said that they are not in care, they're not taking any kind of HIV medications at all, and haven't been for like over 8 years. And
Is this people that are HIV positive?
positive, yeah.
Well, I know a good friend of mine too, who has insurance, who the state will pay for his medications, take his HIV meds, but refuses to take them. To him, it's a waste of time. So everybody has a choice of what they want to do, if they want to take care of themselves or not.
Before we get off topic, Santiago had a question.
There's also mentioned that if the person you're dating or having sex with is positive and you're positive, let's also make sure that y'all both have the same strand or taking the same medication. Because if he's on a different strand and different medication than you are, then it becomes a problem.
Okay, I want to say something.
The strands don't mean anything, it's the resistance.
Let's.
On that, on what you just finished saying, is it a one thing or a constant thing?
No,
You know what I mean? Is it one time
We're
thing?
together.
They're together, I didn't hear that part.
Yeah.
But if you're not together, you're positive, Renee's positive, you guys have sex, you're taking two different medications, you only do it one time, does that affect your medication?
No, okay,
No.
so as long as
On the
both
top,
parties, are undetectable, then they're okay. But if
No
let's-
matter what medications you're taking?
yes,
Alright.
but if one person is not undetectable and the other person is, then the person that is detectable can pass on his strain of HIV to the person that is undetectable. And so it could cause a mutation, and it could cause that person who already is undetectable to not react the way that he used to with that same medication, and he might have to get on a whole new medication.
And you can't do that very much because there's only so much medication
Out there.
out there. So if you ended up, let's go with this 5 medications. So if you're gone through 4 of them and you're on your 5th one,
Yeah, and that's a very big.
That's a very big difference.
God,
Yeah, that's a very big thing that we try to push on people is that if you are not in care, it's very important to get in care and stay in care, because if you get out of care so many times and you can't take any more medication, then that's it. You're shit out of luck, and
Yeah.
and there's really nothing else for you to do. Maybe take the injection, but that's even worse because it hurts a lot and it's much more on your lungs.
Okay, I have one more thing to say about what Santiago said. And I know if you have sex with someone who's both of you are positive and wants to stay undetectable, if you have sex with that person at only one time, that could affect you right away? Or do you have to have sex with him a couple of times for it to affect you?
It depends. If you're having, let's say the person who is detectable is giving anal sex to the person who's undetectable. If the top makes the bottom bleed, and then the top comes inside the bottom, then that opening that the top created with that bleed and his semen it'll be a lot easier for his semen to go in directly into the bloodstream.
I know that a few people, not say a lot of people, I'm not going to mention names, of course, who are out there every day, who's out there having sex like crazy, who's having sex out there like crazy with different guys all the time. And
I'm happy with two.
how big of a risk does he get?
I mean, it really just depends on the day. If he's using precautions, then really it just diminishes.
Okay.
But if he's not using any condoms, if he's not using lube, if he's using like spit or Crisco, then that can greatly increase his chances of getting something.
Well, I like to cook
How about olive
afterwards.
oil?
No, olive oil is definitely not something that you use.
It's supposed to be really good for
It-
you.
well, using something like that, I think, causes immense friction, actually can cause you burns.
Yes, yeah, and I mean, you don't want your butthole or your penis to smell like chicken or something at the end of the sex. So,
Hey, it tastes like chicken.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, are there any questions coming in on the chat that you can see, Wayne, Jace?
Basically, a statement when we were talking back about the two different strands. Milton had it right. He said they do a genotype testing, and that shows which resistance.
Yeah.
Now, what, they do that with PrEP?
The what?
They do, damn it, the genotyping testing, they do that when you're doing PrEP or PEP?
No,
Is that how
no, it's only if you're HIV positive.
You have to have an HIV strand.
Okay, I have a question to the board members here who are positive. I don't know myself what kind of strength I have. Do you guys know?
No.
I can answer that. You were purposely not told the strand that you have because they don't want you to then go back and finding out who has what strand. It would be like, okay, I have this strand and I know he has it, so I got it from him. Go back and there'd be repercussions and things like that.
And how many strands are there?
No, they will not tell you.
No, I know that there's a lot of strands out there. I think that there's like 30-something strands. Just recently, there's a huge strand that got discovered here in San Antonio.
19.
And
I
it
was
was
14.
It was predominantly with youth, Hispanic youth between the ages of, I think, 18 to 29.
Okay, do the strands, let's say you're a specific age, with a specific strand hits you, well, you said there was a strand that's affecting youngers, will that strand affect someone who's older maybe?
It can affect, I'm sorry, go ahead.
The specific strand that affected these youth actually came from an older gentleman that was out of care.
Okay.
So it can affect anybody.
And it's predominantly youth because it's youth having sex with youth.
Yeah, and it just took that one youth to have sex with an older man who he called daddy to pass it on to all these other people within his friend group and then within their friend group, and it led to about 30 plus people becoming infected just in that one strand alone, and that's the biggest strand, one of the biggest strands that was discovered in HIV's entire history.
Here locally.
Yeah, here in San Antonio. So, that's a really great way for San Antonio to get recognized for having the biggest HIV strand.
We're laughing, and it is funny, but unfortunately,
It's not really.
we are in the top 5, just in Texas, and we still are in the top 10 in the United States.
Yeah. Just recently, we were in the top 3 of syphilis, chlamydia, and gonorrhea. Those STDs are extremely rampant here in San Antonio. So, for those sluts out there, just make sure that you're, using as much protection as possible because it's everywhere. I mean, you could get gonorrhea and chlamydia in the mouth, in the anus, on your penis, whatever orifice or body part you use to have sex.
I want to ask a question to Renee, who is
do, no.
You don't? Are you afraid of getting something?
I mean, yeah. I mean, well, I'm not afraid, but I think about it. I mean, but for me, it's just.
Why don't you?
Well, actually, you know what?
Let's-
Let's say this question.
yeah, 'cause-
Let's take this question until you
Right.
come up here and we'll ask the question again.
Yeah.
It's actually a good question for you to talk about in the next
Yeah.
section. Anybody has a time for me right now?
7:35.
Okay. Anybody has any questions?
Any final remarks?
Yes.
Can you name the agencies that they could go get tested and or get on prep?
Yes.
Prep or PEP.
Yeah, so for PEP, there's a kind clinic that I know is a really good resource. I actually just found that out a couple weeks ago. But for PrEP, it's basically anywhere you can go to Beat, you can go to Safe, Facts, ARC, the health department, Kind Clinic, and I don't know if they're still open for business, but Project Hot,
Women's Pavilion.
the Women's Pavilion, Central Med,
VA hospital if you're a veteran.
the VA hospital if you're a veteran, really, even the hospital.
Can you call 311? Do they have information?
They might.
The
I've never
locals.
actually tried that.
Because I know they have like housing assistance and things like that
That'd be a really good.
for San Antonio.
My question is, did all these agencies that you just mentioned, straight people go to them too?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So there was also San Antonio Fighting Back. I forgot to mention them, but you can go to them as well. And most of these agencies, they do community outreach and they target specific populations because that's the specific population that is getting HIV. But if it's somebody who is straight or if it's a female that is interested in getting tested for HIV, getting on PrEP or getting PEP, you can always go to any agency in person and they have to test you no matter what. So you can always look them up on Google. If you'd like, we can also post names and links to the places so that way you can have an ease of access. But also, speaking on that, we are actually going to be having representatives from each agency here to talk to you all about the different services they have and how you guys can access them. So we're going to be doing that, I think, for the next 2 months. So be on the, for those that are interested,
Starting in 2 weeks, I think, is it?
starting sometime in February. So, for those of you that are interested, you just keep on watching. We actually, side note, we actually did our first podcast Sunday. I think it went really well. We are going to be putting it live tonight. I just have to do a couple of editing, but it is completely unfiltered and we say so many gross things and inappropriate things, so please come and listen and enjoy and laugh because we just act very stupid. But now we want to go to a fun little segue that I think we want to do frequently. We're going to have Benjamin and Wayne come up here and perform a challenge that was made popular by TikTok.
You've been talking the whole time. You might as well get up front.
I know how he is. You get beat other guy. Yeah.
Okay, so explain what you're gonna do and then do it.
Well, I've never even seen the TikTok before, so I don't even.
You're gonna take that and make it into a straw.
This is your career.
Fine,
This is your time to shine.
Okay, so I will explain. So what these guys are gonna do is they're going to use this toilet paper roll as by putting the toilet paper roll inside the mouth. So whenever you guys are ready. You want to count down to 3? Or from 3?
Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Doesn't work that way.
You're supposed to suck it up.
It's still strong. And I'm done.
Oh my God.
You didn't say I couldn't tilt it. It's a strong. That's exactly how you use it. I win. Y'all know how fucking. Oops. It's too competitive.
It's too short.
It's too short. I don't know what the hell he did, but it's too short.
Nothing.
Alright, so we just received a card from Fiesta Youth, and I'm going to read it out loud to everybody. So it says, Living Positive Group, Happy New Year to all. Fiesta Youth has donated $200 in HEB gift cards to assist in helping the group get back up and starting their potluck group meetings in person. We hope it helps a little. From David Luna, President of Fiesta Youth. So on behalf of everybody from Living Positive and as well as its members, we want to thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
And now we are going to have Benjamin DeSoto III, Fourth, and Renee Martinez come up and talk about
The first.
well, Benjamin's going to talk about why me, why he became HIV positive and how it's affected his life. Renee, being HIV negative, is going to be talking about what if it was me, how would it affect my life currently, and yeah.
Okay, so why me? I had made a lot of decisions. What do you mean louder right now? Okay, so why me? Why did I get HIV? Why did I sleep with the people who I slept with? Why am I the victim? Why am I the villain? You know, who am I to blame? Is it my fault? Is it the other person's fault? Is it anyone's fault? But really, in all reality, I feel that it's more my fault for not making a better choice. But in all reality, I feel that everything that has happened has bettered myself. So why me? Why did this happen to me? Obviously, I think it was probably something that was, I think that it's something that had to happen in a sad, kind of twisted way, and in a way of looking at it, because I probably would have just kept on going the way that I was going, and I would have probably ended up dead in a ditch. And I don't think I would have stopped. So, I'm grateful to be alive today. I would have probably been way worse off. I would have probably been way worse on drugs. I would have been in way bigger horror than what I've ever been in my life. And I would have already been 6 feet under, or burnt up in one of the big old machines that just crispify you and make you into some ashes or something. You know, or on
Benjamin, you're basically saying, why was I chosen to live over everybody else?
I think
I'm not complaining, but I'm just saying, you know.
What if it was because you were meant to be doing this right now?
because on my part, that's the way I feel. There was a purpose behind it. That I became HIV positive. And I've never, I guess like you said, I guess I want to say it just, I'm grateful in a sense I did become HIV positive because I'm doing something that helps other people, and I made a whole new family. We're living positive. It's a support group that I think if I was negative, I would never have. I know I would never have. But me being HIV positive, it's a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, I know I probably would have never talked to any one of y'all bitches if I was HIV negative.
So, Renee,
Well, actually,
How
we're
lucky
good.
we are.
on Renee,
Ben, I just want to say I'm very, very proud of you because I have followed you on Facebook and I have seen like your progression and your determination to be a better person because you've shown where you were in the past and where you are now, and that to me is inspirational for me, you know, because I mean, I deal with issues dealing with alcoholism, and there was a before me, and then now there's a current me, which is a better, you know, and so for you, that tells me a lot about you when you're saying, you're asking the question why me, is because just from an objective perspective where I'm at, I see that you're a dirty person, and that deep in you that you are a good soul, you know, and so I think.
Is this love connection?
Renee, speak up. They can't hear you.
And so I think that the answer to your question is because God wanted you here because you are a good person inside.
Thank you. I appreciate you have to watch and find out. Thank you.
and you, Renee?
I guess as Leo said, the question for me is why not me? That's hard to answer because I'm actually surprised myself. Why not? I've done lots of sexual things that really surprises me that I'm not HIV positive. I mean, like Mark, I don't like to use condoms. I probably can count on my fingers how many times I've used them in my life. I like Mark, you know, that it's just, I don't know if it's just because I'm older or what, but
How old are you?
You don't have to answer.
He's 40.
For me, I just I know that if when they become HIV positive, I don't think my life and my views and my beliefs would change. I think I would still feel the same. I think that I think that I still continue to, you know, worry about catching infections and whatnot, but I just recently met someone that is HIV positive, and you know, my opinion and my ideas and how I feel about HIV wouldn't change at all. I still would feel the same.
And you're dating someone who's HIV positive?
Yes.
You said you met somebody. You didn't say you was dating. Let's get that right.
So I brought
Well,
it up and you said yes.
it's headed in that direction.
Yes.
So, and like I said, whether I have HIV or positive or negative, I mean, my opinion or my feelings about it doesn't change.
Let me ask you a question, Renee. You're dating someone who's HIV positive, and you're, of course, you're negative. And what would happen? I know you're a top, but still tops do get HIV positive, become HIV positive also. How would you react if you became HIV positive?
Well, I mean, I'm very familiar with it. I'm very informed about it. And I understand it basically from a molecular level to a clinical healthcare level. So it wouldn't affect me. I would just know that I need to get into the mode of being in a maintenance position of taking care of myself, my body, be more conscious of my sexual interactions with people, get on medication, rest. But other than that, I mean, if I found out that I was HIV positive, I would just know that I have to, stay healthy.
So do you feel like you would be doing that why me later on in life?
No.
Or do you, because that's the way I felt as well. Like, I didn't get mine until I was 46. Boy, I'm 47. I didn't do a why me because I knew what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
I knew I was having random sex with individuals,
Right.
knowing,
You put yourself at a risk.
I knew I was taking a risk. And, I'm more surprised that I never got it in my 20s or earlier in life. So that I got it at 46.
And I suppose I'm at an age, as Leo so eloquently points out, I mean, I'm 41 years old.
Really?
So it's like, I go into these things with my eyes wide open. So I know what to expect, what the consequences will be, the ramifications, everything. So I don't believe that I would have a why me moment. Because, I'm perfectly aware of what is to come.
So,
That's a very mature way to look at it and grasp the whole idea of it because, I like that answer. At least he's okay with it, he's completely aware because me and my naive, very young state of mind and where I was at a couple years ago, being first diagnosed, that was a hell to the no for me. I was like, oh no, I'm
So you
gonna
didn't
die.
expect it to get it.
Benjamin.
You never anticipated that she would.
I was actually, I stayed very careful for many, many, many years, and I was actually in a very long relationship with one person. And
Quick question, Benjamin. How long have you been positive?
since May of 2018.
I didn't hear you. Sorry.
May of 2018.
Okay.
So, so I got freaking out. So,
Did you feel like it was like, that you had to seek revenge on anything or anybody?
no, but I did get really sick.
Talk a little louder.
Sorry.
So, Renee, another thing. All right, so how does your sexual partners at this time feel about you not wearing a condom?
Well, I mean,
He hasn't asked you, I'd rather you wear a condom?
well, we have had sex.
Okay.
Have you talked about it?
Yeah, we talked about it. He's been on medication since 2008.
Okay, then he's unsuspectable.
Huh?
He's
He's
unsuspectable.
I imagine so. I mean, I don't know.
So that's something that you still haven't talked to him about either.
Huh?
Oh.
So that's something you haven't talked to him
Right.
about.
So that's we haven't been together long enough to go into that conversation, but eventually it will. And that.
I mean,
will come up.
and we're not here to judge you or judge him, but that should have been something that came out of his mouth from
Well,
the
he
get-go.
told me
But he should,
immediately that
but he should have told you, I'm also undetectable. Not just say, I'm HIV positive. You know what I'm saying?
But it differs person to person.
Yeah.
Yes. As long as
Well,
as long as it's HIV positive.
he announced
Well, I
it was
imagine
positive.
Yes.
that you assume nowadays that if you are positive, that if you tell somebody you're positive, on
That means you
medication,
shouldn't.
But you can't assume.
and on medication, that you would be undetectable.
Okay,
Am I wrong?
No, I know someone who's already started taking his medication. He's still not undetectable. And it just depends on what part you start taking your medication. Not everybody who takes your medication is undetectable.
It
That's
depends
the
on
same.
your viral load.
Yes.
You know, if you've in the millions of copies, or do you just have a couple of thousand copies?
You need to. That's one question you need to ask, and from there you make a decision and choose whatever you want to do.
Right. And see, those are things that
I just found our next topic.
eventually we will talk about, is the clinical aspect of that. Because I'm familiar with viral loads and with T cell counts and
Well, the good thing
how
about
that's done.
the good thing about it, he told you right away.
He
That's a
did
good
tell
thing.
me. You know, and I commend him for that. Because,
And that opens the door for a lot of conversations. And if you down the road decide to be with him, you're there as a support
Right.
also. And it helps him out in the long run too. Knowing that he's with someone who understands what he's going through to a certain point. Because you really don't understand because you're negative. But you understand to a certain point that this is who he is, this is the medications he's taking, this is where he stands, if he's undetectable.
you know, I guess the remark is whether I had HIV or not. I guess in my mind, I wouldn't let HIV define me or define how I am. I just know that I need to be healthy and stay healthy. But it wouldn't be the first thing on my mind, I suppose. And maybe, I don't know if I'm
No,
wrong about that.
no, you're not.
But I wouldn't let it define me
No.
or how I live.
I have a quick question for actually both of you.
That's really good. That's a really good.
In your case, Renee, it's kind of, the question's slightly different. But Benjamin, do you feel like since you've been diagnosed, that you've been able to make an impact on the HIV community? In your turn, being negative, do you think you're able to educate those outside the HIV community about HIV?
Oh, yeah.
I feel that yes, I have. I have been able to make an impact on the community, a big impact. Now, there has been a slight difference. I am starting to become a little bit more select in whom I address my status to.
What are you talking about? What do you mean? Explain that.
Okay, so if I'd rather someone know my status personally, and this is the topic that I want to get to. I don't want someone to just, I don't feel that it's anyone else's business to address my status for me. It's for me to do myself. Don't you feel the same way about yourself? Because that's your own medical term, right?
I'm lost.
You don't want somebody else to be telling about your status?
Yeah.
Other than yourself?
It's
Is
up
that the
to
same
you
way?
if you out yourself to anybody, right?
Correct.
So
But
if I'm going to meet somebody, I want to have that personal intimacy to be able to tell them in person and not have it blasted at that moment.
But you gotta also understand, there are so many shady people
Yeah.
that if they're not happy with you, or you pissed them off, or you did something to tick them off, they'll put your status out there and say so much crap. It's happened. I cannot speak to everybody. It's happened to me before. And to me, I laugh about it because everybody knows about my status. It's all over my Facebook. I'm not ashamed of it. I'm actually proud of being HIV positive because you know what? It does not control me. I control it. I'm the one
Okay.
who makes me, not HIV. this is me. I use the HIV to teach people about this disease and the sex.
Preach, girl, preach.
So the shady people will always be there.
Yes,
Yeah.
they will never go away.
Remove yourself away from that.
Yes, and I did. My set of friends, I could trust. And why are you putting trash in my bag, by the way? I could trust my friends.
Not all of them.
Not anymore. And so, it's embarrassing. But I can trust my friends. With my deepest secrets.
Okay, so you already know who you can trust in this
Yes.
city, right?
But you know what?
And
I'm
you-
out there. I'm out there.
You think you are a lot harder than I have, right? I'm still losing this city. So I'm still getting these waters tested.
You're not the only
Every
one.
single day.
You're not the only one. By now, I'm going to tell you this. But how long you been in San Antonio?
2 years.
2 years. By now, you should
I-
have
I-
your feet in the water, like you said.
I do have my feet in the water. I'm not gonna lie, my feet are very much in the water. They're not in hot water, but they're in the water. They're in the water and they splash and they set sail. Sometimes don't even play. They're there. But my point is that if I'm going to introduce myself to somebody, I want it to come from my mouth on a personal note and address that on as my own introduction at my own time. You know, I don't want that to be something that's automatic, you know, like about me.
Ugh. And I hate to agree with what he's saying.
Okay.
Trust me, because I've said this many times before. I'd rather them know me. I'd rather them know Santiago before they say, oh, that's the guy that's sick with HIV. No, that's Santiago. Then follow up, he's HIV positive. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I know what
No.
So that's right. I kind of agree with what the fuck he's saying. But
And it's weird, because I actually said, total, I really believe if I'm gonna be talking to somebody, they need to know that part about my life and not have it come up as a surprise later on.
Right, no, and that's the thing. It wouldn't be a surprise, and I'm not really too good about, you know, surprise things myself. But if it's something that's gonna carry anything, or that's something I would do on an intimate level before anything goes any further, and I will address that first and foremost. But if someone's gonna see me, meet me, love me, or accept me, trust me, or anything about me, that's just how it's going to be. And then I'm going to, that's just my own comfort. You know,
I mean, if somebody really likes you, you know, having, whether it's HIV or cancer or some other disease like that, I mean, they're not going to see that first. They're going to see you as a person.
yeah, they're going to see me.
They're not going to see
You know?
you.
But not everybody understand that. Not everybody is that way.
so
Exactly, not everybody's.
You might actually meet what you think is a perfect guy for you and everything. Then you turn around and tell him, okay, I have cancer. He could be a total ass and say, you know what? I don't want to do with it. I'll move on. Or you could tell him that. I mean,
you
it's
know that's
confident.
better, because at least you know to get out of it.
Yes.
At least you know
Right.
to let that one go.
But my thing is, if you tell someone you're HIV positive, they could be an asshole too and say, I don't want to die. I don't want to get this.
Right.
And you see, that's where the ignorance comes in.
Right.
Where they don't know,
Well, that person was a member.
yes.
But I mean, but that doesn't mean that, you know, that a friendship still can't be there. Or, you know, I mean, who says that it wouldn't
Well,
be,
let me ask you a question.
you know?
I think everyone's different. Why would you want to be friends with someone who just turned around and told you they don't want to be with you because they don't want to die? And in other words, be crude about it.
No, hey,
Well,
if someone doesn't want to be with you because they don't want to catch, you know, something that you have, okay, that's fine. You know, maybe at one point in time, maybe I was like that. And honestly, in all honesty, maybe at one point in time, I was like that.
You see, I wasn't. I was never that way. Never.
I was already dating guys that were positive.
Yeah, me too.
Maybe 100 years ago in my past life, maybe I was like that.
Okay, you change your story.
What did
Go on.
you say?
It doesn't work that way.
I already forgot.
Equally.
So, you know. but
Basically,
that
a rule
does
of
not
thumb.
mean-
A rule of thumb for this is I
that
can
doesn't
almost say
mean
every
that-
person I've ever seen that said, "Oh, I don't want to be around HIV positive people." Years down the road, that's what and they end up catching it.
I
am proof of that. I am proof of that.
Okay, and but did it stop me from being their friend? No. Did it stop me from loving them any less? No. Did that stop me from going over to their house every day?
Oh, no, I
Did
was
that
like,
stop me from being able to go out?
They
No.
close-minded.
But did I date them? No. Did I
Away from you.
No.
So,
if someone had turned me down for that, would I still respect their rejection? Yes, because did I do it before? Yes.
See, I look at it this way, somebody's
But
rejecting me,
if they still wanted to be my friend, I would still respect them as being my friend because
think about it again?
I had friends that tried getting at me and they were positive and we stood friends, but we didn't sleep with each other. So what difference would that make if I did the same thing?
Yeah.
You know?
I think you also.
I'm sick.
Hey, oh my gosh, you guys are bad.
you know, you're talking about, I wouldn't reject somebody either if they rejected me, because I would think that, okay, this is my opportunity to teach somebody the truth about HIV. They're evidently being ignorant and don't know what it's about. This is an opportunity to teach
I was
them.
ignorant.
If they're willing to learn.
Yeah, they're willing to learn. If they're not willing to
I
learn,
was scared.
they're not gonna want nothing
I
to
was
do.
like 18 years old. I didn't know anything about it. This person was like well into their 40s. Told me that they were completely full blown. They weren't in care. They had the hots for me. They were trying to sleep with me, and they didn't know that I had already knew that they were positive, and they were my grandmother's best friend, and my grandmother told me, don't do it because they are positive. So I had already had a heads in, and I listened to my elders.
So why didn't you just tell them, look, I already know you're positive?
I did, but I told him, I was like, so when were you going to tell me that you were positive? Seriously?
So,
I already knew.
When you have random sex, do you tell everybody you're having sex with that you're positive?
Do I? Yes, I do.
Good. Did you used to? In the beginning?
In the beginning,
Honestly.
We talk about that. We all had indiscretion.
But you know what? I don't
That's
think
not
that-
the question. The question is, in the beginning, when you found out you were HIV positive, did you tell people you were sleeping with that you were HIV positive? Or were you scared to say something because of the way they were going to react? Because you had no clue how for you yourself to
when I
react.
first found out, actually, I was still having sex.
But did you tell them?
Did you tell?
Did you
Yes,
tell
I did.
them?
No. Yes, I did tell them, and they still wanted to hit it.
Really?
I look at it this is how I look at it.
And every
react-
single one of them still wanted to hit it.
This is how I look at it. If you're going to hook up with someone, you know you're HIV, and that other person doesn't say, "Hey, do you have HIV or not?" That's on the. I mean, we are responsible for our own
And that's right.
doing.
That's exactly right.
If you get into the situation and you get HIV, did you tell him to wear a condom? No, that's on you. You made your own decision.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Okay,
Now,
guys.
I do have one quick question for Renee. How would you react if you had been dating somebody for, say, a month or two, and then they told you they were HIV positive? What would your reaction be?
Well, I mean, I would question their loyalty and authenticity. I would question whether they're being honest about other things. And I would ask them, why didn't you tell me? Or why wasn't this brought up before? And if they say, well, I was scared, I mean, I can understand that. But at the same time, I would really reconsider that.
The reason I ask that is because, and John has talked about this before with one of our board members, he was seeing this guy, and the guy told him several weeks after they'd seen him. As a matter of fact, that he was HIV positive. And it wasn't, and John didn't say this is over because you're HIV positive. He said it was because the guy was untruthful in his opinion.
He felt betrayed.
He was betrayed.
What he
Because
said.
he told him or because he didn't?
Because when he first asked him, "Are you positive?" he goes, "No." A couple weeks later,
You see,
he said,
that
"I am
would
positive."
immensely, because then I would see it as if you're lying. If you can't divulge the truth about that, then what else are you lying about?
Okay, and yes, there was a time I did, after I was diagnosed, I did.
You did what?
I was guilty of,
No.
I'm not telling.
of not disclosing until after, and,
But
it turns out that they were positive too.
dude, you're confusing us because there was no reason for you to tell him that you're positive if you weren't positive. Pretty much is what you're saying. That after you were positive, then you disclosed it. But earlier you said that you were telling everybody.
Yeah, no.
But you weren't positive yet.
No, he was positive.
No,
No, what he just said. What did he say right now?
Okay, right now, first he said,
there was one.
first he said when he was positive, when he found out he was positive, he told everybody. Then he stepped on it, and everybody wanted to hit that still. Now he turned around
Allegedly.
and saying that there was one person he did not say. Tell him.
So he corrected himself.
Yes.
Thank you for that.
Yes.
And I want to thank Renee and Benjamin for speaking tonight.
And it turns out they were positive themselves.
We're gonna bring back up Mark and myself. So
Bye, girls.
We'll bring Mark back up. You
Thank you everyone for listening.
Thank you, Renee and Ben.
Okay, that was really exciting. I really enjoyed that. This would be.
That was fun.
Entertaining. It was. I cannot pronounce the word.
Informative.
That too.
Arousing. Arousing.
Not been that high.
I do want to apologize for all the background noise that the fat people were making while eating.
I'm sorry. I'm eating a cookie.
I told Richard.
So,
What's next week's topic?
I just put my book up. You had to ask me.
You know we asked you
Yes, I should say. Just hold on.
So while he's doing what he should have been doing to begin with, can you remind everybody of our Cash App?
Yes, we do have a cash app, and it is, you know what LPSA.
Hungry Bottoms 2021.
I want to say 15, but don't quote me on that one. I will put it up, we will put it up tonight, actually. Me and Leo in a few minutes, we'll get together, everything up tonight. Because we keep forgetting to do that. I don't know why. I'm drunk, I'm not. I'm not drunk. So.
Wow.
There was that 3 bottles of wine.
Mini bottles.
2 bottles of water.
2 bottles of wine.
So, but on a real serious note, the SAU, I want to say thank you so much for the donation. It does help a lot. Trust me.
yes, and we are definitely going to use it to, when we do our first in-person meeting, we can provide a grand feast for you guys. Hopefully, PSPs will be able to attend. I'm sure
Yes.
we'll invite them so they can come out. We can do bingo with Wayne and Santiago. They'll be wearing hula skirts and nothing else. So be on the lookout for that.
No, remember how about cheat
Oh yeah, Wayne has coconut foods. Mark, do you want to update them on the drag show that was going to be earlier?
Okay, we do have a drag show coming up here at one point. They just got the okay. I believe, I cannot say the date yet because I don't honestly remember the date. It's something they're still working on.
Now is the drunk one.
I don't know. I'm forgetful.
Is there a theme?
But it's supposed to be March, right?
It's old.
But it's going to be in March, is that right?
Yes, it'll be in the beginning of March, if I'm correct. It was supposed to be this month coming up, but they moved it to March because it's going to be a little bit more special, more glitter, more grand.
Maybe it'll be the Green Mile.
Yes.
The Green Mile.
Walk the line, man.
The penis?
Ooh, if it's green, ooh. Put that thing back. You need to get to the clinic.
So, speaking of syphilis,
If it's green, it's not red.
Next week's topic is going to be HIV and pets, the pros and cons of having pets.
Okay, Tim, you're talking text?
Pets.
Okay.
Pets, like
Oh,
animals?
on that note, I want to say something.
you getting it done.
Thank you for-
Bitch.
You can
Bubbles has a fin infection.
Yes. No, listen, no, this.
What?
What?
You killed both of them that quick?
Your rats? You killed your rats already?
Oh, my fish. I have fish.
Murderer.
You went to-
Probably because y'all paying more attention to the goddamn little rats they have running around. Your pet rats.
Okay, continue.
Your mice.
Continue.
So I actually got a call from my landlord today, and they approved of me getting a dog.
Finally, after all that.
Yes.
Oh.
So many months. So now I'm in the process of starting for a dog. It's not gonna happen right away.
You want Jake?
I was gonna say, I have the dog for you.
Is it a boy?
It's a little boy.
I see a lot of them on Commerce.
It's Michael's dog.
We'll discuss that. So,
Maybe we can take a trip to San Antonio to the lab.
do the I know because we went actually to Birdsburg, the place, dog place, what do you call it?
The animal shelter?
Yeah.
Humane Society.
The Humane Society.
Oh my God, I'm telling you, I'm old. Stop looking at me that way, laughing at me.
Mark, you're only 40.
I know. All those drugs I took in my younger years. No, I don't do drugs. I don't even drink. And so, we went actually, and they didn't know I was saying you have to make an appointment. And that's all.
Oh, yeah.
What's that place on 281?
I think that's part of
That's
That
the animal
big,
shelter.
that
That's
big
ACS.
place.
That's ACS.
But now,
No, on 281.
getting back to the group, next week's topic
It's
was about pets, of course. And who's doing that topic?
It's going to be Santiago and Wayne. No, Santiago and Jace.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, because Wayne's going to be doing the why me, so it should be Santiago and me that will do the pets.
That's fine.
It's a big
So,
And
and
then I have one more announcement.
Yeah, I think it's by Humane Society.
Okay, so can we throw in another announcement on those surveys?
yeah, we'll do that.
yeah.
So after the meeting, we'll post another link to the VDAIDS survey so that way you can rate them on how they're doing in terms of providing these services. Please be as brutally honest as possible. They want to basically step their pussies up and make sure that they give you the treatment that you guys deserve. So please fill out these surveys. It not only does a good service for them, but it also in the future will be a good service for you.
But this survey is for, beach side only, correct?
It's for anybody who's ever accessed any type of resources for me,
Okay.
whether it's testing, gotten condoms, gotten services from housing or medication support, counseling support, anything.
Now, Safe has one also. When you go to lunch or dinner, they have it. Oh, actually breakfast as well. They have a pamphlet or a couple of pages because they want to get scored as well how they're doing. So, but like Leo said, be brutally honest. If they're not doing their job, tell them. If not, they're going to keep on doing what they're doing because nobody's saying anything. So this is your time to speak up for both agencies. If you feel they're not doing their job, tell them they're not doing their job.
When?
When we're done, I wanted to drop some information I got this week. If everybody didn't hear about the latest food bank. So I found a food bank the other day. It's the northwest side of San Antonio. It is every Thursday. There's no zip code restrictions whatsoever, so it's open to anybody. It's from 9:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. The location is called, the North Hills Ministry Center. The address is 4306 Naco Pass 78217. It's off 1,000 Oaks, and your lane, and pass the word on everybody, and I will repost this and fresh it up.
You said that's
Refresh
on,
it so you can see
you
it.
said that's on Thursday?
Every Thursday.
Do they have good food?
Speaking of the food pantry, if you go onto their website and if you are, stuck at home because of COVID or because, you can't drive or anything like that, you can register online for them to deliver food to your house.
Yeah, the food bank, same thing with food.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Oh, and dial 311 for housing assistance, because there's a lot of money going into helping people.
And
Yes,
I got the city, Bear County just got a humongous.
Yeah.
3 million or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are taking applications
It was a lot
right
more
now.
than they
Yeah.
expected.
So where would they go for 311? They would go for that?
For housing.
Yeah, and you can also.
And
go
other
to
services.
You can also go to the City of San Antonio website.
Yes.
And also you can go to the COVID-19 cities under services, they have.
There was a huge influx of federal and state funds to San Antonio.
And if for some reason there is anyone that don't have access to a printer, because they might just use their cell phone or whatever, you can go to, so right across from Robert E. Green, it's the Pecos building. You go up to the 5th floor, and the 5th floor is where you can get any application that is involved with like Bear County Electric, this housing fund, and different other things that they're able to help you with.
Actually, because I was there today. So what actually is, tell me you're going to the 5th floor because there's a line. There's actually people outside giving you directions of how to get on their website. And what they also said was, if you need to print it out and you don't have a printer, you can go to any library and they will print it out for you for free at no cost. So there's actually no excuse for you not to be able to fill out the application and take it to them.
That's why I didn't print yours today.
Quick question.
Thank you, Jen. What's
All
up?
right, so thank you guys so much for joining us.
One more thing.
Oh, one more thing. Remember, this is an all-inclusive group. There's gays, there's straights, transgenders, lesbians, whatever you classify yourself as. So if you have a topic that you want to talk about, or if you want to come and talk about it, you're more than welcome. A lot of our conversations are gay because it's us talking. But if anybody else wants to talk about a straight topic, you're more than welcome to come, or just tell us so we can do the research.
We want to hear your stories.
We can actually have you guys join us on Facebook Live as well, so that way you can do it from the comfort of your own home. So if you guys really want something to talk about, there's really no excuse.
If I was straight and I wanted to come out, can I come out on this program?
Yeah,
Yes.
please.
Again, this is open to everybody.
So thank you guys again for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned next week for Santiago and Boring Jace for their talk on pets and HIV and how it benefits and affects you negatively and positively. And I think that'll be a very interesting conversation.
Yes.
'Cause I have that. So
I have 3 mice, a cat, and here pretty soon a dog.
And a partridge and a pear tree. Thank you, everybody.